All right, so haven't recorded anything in a while for various number of reasons. Some being that we stopped working on the project that I'd initially started to record for, being the two-door Bel Air, the I guess drag car project for lack of better terms. Started working on this. Um, had a child that took up a good bit of time, reasonably so. My father's employment status, like one of our local mills, are going down, so we're not sure what's going on there. But what momentum we had on his car, which I'll explain in a minute, is starting to try and wrap up and slow. Thankfully, right at the amount of time that was needed. But yeah, I didn't realize it had been 5 or 6 months since I had recorded and posted anything, but it's literally been that long since I've worked on the two door. We've worked on a bunch of other projects, and like I said, I had originally started filming strictly for this car, and not sure how much content I'll have there, but I suppose I'll probably start picking up on all my projects because we have a multitude of them. But yeah, let's, I guess, get into explaining what has been done, because it's been a lot done on other things, just not on this. Now, obviously, I put the front clip on here after we got it. It still has to be trimmed throughout here, cleaned up. We still have to fabricate it. My father's got an idea of a slide lock mechanism he wants to use, because I plan on putting a blower, like an old root style blower as far as drivetrain engine goes. And I want to be able to flip it up and it kind of roll forward at the same time instead of just up pivoting to clear that. But also want to make sure that I don't have to reach down and pull on these, because these are already kind of flimsy. Once we firm them up structurally, that'll hopefully not have to be pulled out, and we'll be able to get some latches or lock mechanisms. He's got an idea for it. The downfall is that during getting it home from picking it up, the box caught some wind, blew out of the back of the truck because I was stupid and had no straps. So we have to refiberglass this, but I don't suppose that'll be a big deal. The rear quarters are pretty well done. I still need to get a hold of the guy in regards to coming back and doing just a little bit of dolly work and doing the mudding on this, the first coat of Bondo. These are going to be replaced. I have these ordered. They're already in the car, and I have everything for the 4-link set up on this car except for a 4.9 housing in a, I guess it's big bearings, what they call it. I put my old style wheels on it. They fit perfectly as far as what I was wanting. It's a little tight, but I'll be able to stiffen up the rear suspension some and kind of work with it. And I may have to change the depth as far as the wheels go. I have another set of wheels for this just in case, but they were for a street strip application. No biggie though. I do like the way it sits, and that's probably about the depth that I'll run. As far as this goes, now this was a project that my father picked up shortly after we picked up my 4-door. This too is a 4-door. It's set in a shed, apparently. I say a shed, storage facility for, I think he said 30 plus years. It was out of Oklahoma. 2 of our vehicles have been out of Oklahoma, and 2 of them, the other one not pictured, out of those 2 were out of Texas. He found this one for an exceptional price. It's in great shape. Was in great shape when he brought it home. Engine and transmission did not run. We weren't sure how much it needed to run. So he got this home with the intentions of doing it for his car, I guess, along with the Nomad and the other 1,000 cars it feels like that we have. But anyway, this thing has exceptional interior, considering, you know, it's a 60-plus-year-old car. It's been redone once, I'm not sure when, and it's been repainted once. So, you know, while it's not the prettiest of colors, it's in far better shape than what my other 4-door is. The seats are nice. He actually invested in a tilt steering column. Put the factory wheel back on it, though he does not like the depth, so we've got to take that back out and cut it down. It was very bare bones. It's not actually a Bel Air, it's a 210. And we've been working on piddly things whenever we make orders. Like, I've got the glove box liner, I've changed the latches, I've had to change the stainless screws, and just all the minute things you can imagine. We've got new door seals for it because we've already started pulling these off. These were terrible. We have new J seals for it. plugs, wires, a wiring harness from dash up because the dash harness is terrible. We've changed the speedometer and altered the drivetrain quite a bit as well. Now, we pulled the straight six out. It came with a straight six and a 3-speed manual with an overdrive. I've never seen an overdrive on a 3-speed manual, but it has a PTO style, like pull out overdrive activation system that apparently people like to use for the Saginaw 4-speeds. It essentially makes them an 8-speed, although the ratios kind of make it equivalent to like a 5-speed in today's standards, I think, from what I've read. All new to me. We've set it aside. It's not something I plan on using, but we have it, you know, in case I get bored in the future. But we just happen to have this 283 laying around out of my old 57 two-door hardtop because I put a stroker motor in it. And this was a good running motor. Nothing was wrong with it. I just wanted to utilize, you know, the hot rod engine, for lack of better terms. So my father dressed it up. We changed freeze plugs, etc., etc. And he tried to keep a original look to the car. So we've got factory style manifolds that have bolt up points for, you know, what will be underdash AC or the vintage AC system. We picked up an intake and had it sandblasted and painted, even though I've screwed up some of the paint here, with the oil filler tube. And he has picked up a original style carburetor, all the factory lines he's ordered, you know, we've gotten from Dan Chuck, down to the fuel pump, which is new. I don't know if you could see, but the fuel line and brake lines are all new, and they're all attached rather well. He did all of this, but new motor mounts. I changed the radiator core support to put the radiator on the inside because the straight six had it on the outside. I painted the inner fenders, and here I have to do this still, but I want to pull the grill out, replace it, and clean all this up in the process. But he's went all out with it. He's, you know, fresh battery tray, power brake, disc brake conversion. Still have to paint that. It looks terrible. He has some of the brackets, I think, for the AC. We've got to rework the wiper setup. He's wanting to get that lined out. We've got everything from the wiring harness to the new clips to the grommets that go through the firewall and the radiator core support. Like I said, we've got seals. I stole 2 of the back wheels off of my other car because it's just sitting and it had exceptional wheels and tires. I have 2 just like this that will go on the front, and that will take care of that. He's went so far as to try and pick up a factory style or factory appearing radiator instead of one of the new shiny ones, which I like better. A second coil set up. He's went all out in it, and it's really showed because it was a piece of crap in the sense of drivetrain whenever we got it. This is what's left of the spare parts. The whole trunk was full, the whole back of the car was full, and the front seat was full originally. So while it doesn't look like we've done much, there is a considerable amount of difference. Other than a piece of trim on the other side that's missing, this car's jam up physically. I just have the front clip sitting on here to get it out of the way. It's not bolted down. It will come back off temporarily, but that's been it with these 2. We have not touched the Nomad either. It's mainly been all hands on deck for this, as well as my father's daily driver and my daily driver. One getting a drivetrain swap, which is now done, and buying another one that was cheap and paid off, and getting it lined out. Which leads me to having my G8, which I'm still making payments on, but it's not bad. Sitting out there, it's got the DOD issue, the displacement on demand. The lifters are ticking and rattling and chattering, and it needs an alternator. And at that point, I decided, you know, I don't really want to put the money in it right now, especially getting it lined out to be paid off soon. I think the plan is just to pay it off and to scrap it and steal the drivetrain. You know, the pedal, the harness, the OBD2 ports, the engine, transmission. I'll keep the rear end, and I'll part out the rest of it because it's not important to me. It's a good car, but if I can't get it sold for a fair price, I'll just salvage it. The only downfall is that all these Bel Airs, they don't take a 6L80 in the transmission tunnel, other than maybe my 2-door. I don't really think I want to go that route. I want to, I'd like a 4L80 in it. And I think as of right now, we're looking at running a blown big block for it, just for nostalgia's sake. It's not fuel efficient. it takes a lot more money to get the bottom ends taken care of as opposed to the LS having the 6-bolt mains and the way they're designed. And I'm aware of this. LS swapped the world. But just for nostalgia's sake, I think we want to run a big block. So I'll probably take that 606 L80 and stick it in my 66 back there, because that's pretty much about all it likes other than putting body panels on it, bolting it together, and spraying paint on it, and a windshield. I mean, it didn't like much when we stopped. Well, now it needs a rear end because I stole that one in the corner, and it's too narrow for this, so I need the housing to 4-link it. This was one of our spare transmissions that we had to put in this blue 55. And upon changing the gasket in the back, for some reason the front pump does not want to go back in, and rather than screw it up, we're taking it to a guy locally that works on transmissions. But I happen to have a built turbo 350 from the years of us drag racing, and it held up to right at 700 horsepower to the flywheel, so it should hold up to this. It's just got a shift kit. We pulled the stall out and put a torque converter in it, and dressed up the bottom end of the car. We welded the aftermarket shock mounts in so that it wouldn't bust the floor pan out anymore, the trunk pan, because it's already busted. But realistically, if we both had off days, which neither one of us have lately, that's another reason for the videos, lack thereof, we could have this thing turned out soon. It doesn't like much, really. And you can see it has the disc brake rotors if you look close. Hopefully that makes a big difference. For some reason, he insisted on putting drum on the rear, and they were the upgrade to the self-adjusting, and they were absolute hell. Maybe because I'm not that great of a mechanic, I don't know, but it sucked, and I swore I'd never do it again. I talked to a lot of people that said it's not bad, but like I said, I'm not a good mechanic. I'm fair. So that was probably a lot of it. I tend to screw up a lot of things. Primary example, on the gas tank in here, I over-tightened the stud that went to the sending unit, and it twisted off. So now there's a pinhole, basically, in the sending unit to the tank. So I have to somehow fix that or replace the sending unit. Everything on these cars has been tough to work on, but we're getting progress done. It just wasn't on the 2-door, which, you know, that's what I'd started the channel for, was to document it, because I didn't see any interesting builds other than gigantic companies that have $50,000+ to throw on them, and I don't, obviously. I work full time. I pay bills like everyone else. I live payday to payday just about like everyone else. So, you know, it was a slow but steady pace, but we pulled off of it to get onto this one, because at first we did not have 2 daily drivers for us. My car started going down. I had a 80s model pickup that I was working on during that time frame. It's done now. My father drives it, and I drive a little 92 model pickup. So all that squared away. The excess spending slowed down again, so now it's going to be a matter of putting time in on this thing, getting it done, getting it out of the way, and getting back on the Nomad and the 2-door over there. Like I said, we don't like much as far as parts. It's just a matter of working on it. I have my fiberglass trunk lid back here as well, along with a ton of other parts. So I'm hoping that shaves plenty of weight off the car. I really like it at about 2,500 pounds, 2,800, somewhere in there. I want to say they were like 3,300 curb weight. And I know the blower is heavy, and the different wheels are going to be heavy, and et cetera, et cetera. But that fiberglass front end is so light that I put it on there yesterday by myself. It's fragile. That said, it has to be reinforced. So, yeah. This is just an update video. I didn't do a whole lot today other than clean the shop. It's been so hot. Even with this fan going, which is very small, the door open, it's just insane in here. You start pouring sweat. So we've tried to avoid the shop in the hottest parts. Like I said, I've been spending time with family because I do have a child now. Working quite a bit to get caught up on bills to make sure I'm comfortable, you know, settling back in and working on my junk again. And with my father's employment facility possibly going awry, he's working all he can right now just in case he does have to relocate for jobs. So, yeah, hopefully there's more content soon to come. I think we're supposed to work on this Saturday, and today is Thursday. So I'll likely film a good bit of that and see about trying to keep a little bit more regularity in posting. But I suppose it went from just being this to being anything because we have multitudes of projects. So just doing an update, and hope to post again soon. Thanks for watching.